Hi, I'm your host, Dawn Sellers, and I had the pleasure of sitting down with emerging filmmaker, video editor, and actor Drew Crosby. Drew has received recognition for directing the festival-selected short films Partners in Crust and Rocky is Dead, as well as for his award-winning performance as Ramsey Ernest in Nolan Sternkopf's horror comedy short Fire Hill. A 2023 graduate of Portland State University's film program, Drew is the founder of the Portland State University Viking Film Festival, an inclusive platform that celebrates student and alumni filmmakers by providing a space to share their work, connect, and collaborate. Drew shares the process of starting a student film festival and how it has evolved. In this episode, Drew reflects on his beginnings making backyard movies with his younger brother in Sherwood, Oregon. He discusses how his passion for filmmaking evolved through high school and college, eventually leading to the co-founding of Ghoul Capone Pictures and several films, including his current post-apocalyptic film, Forsaken Remains. Tune in to hear about his favorite filming locations and what lies ahead for him as an independent filmmaker in Oregon. Good. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And so tell me a little bit about yourself. Are you from Portland?
Yeah, I'm from the area. I'm from Sherwood, Oregon.
Okay.
I've been there most of my life. And I'm a local indie filmmaker. I've mostly done short films so far, but I'm kind of branching out into directing my own feature this summer. I am a co-founder of a group called Ghoul Capone Pictures. That's just kind of our label for the films we put out. And I am the founder of the PSU Viking Film Festival. I went to school at Portland State University, and that is the film festival that is now annual there.
Very exciting. So what made you want to be a filmmaker? Did you always want to be a filmmaker, or was there like a light bulb moment that you decided you wanted to make films?
I think it was more of a kind of gradual thing over time that just came from, before anything else, I was into drawing a lot, but specifically kind of storytelling through drawing, like comics and things like that. But eventually that got me interested in like animation, so I got really into animated movies and like watching behind the scenes of that kind of stuff. And I think that's probably when I first kind of found out that filmmaking could be a thing that you do, is watching just like DVD extras, you know. Mm-hmm. But there were a couple of different kind of avenues that I first got my start, and it was through just stop motion animation and basically home movies with my brother. Like we had one of those, it was called like a flip camera. Mm-hmm. And it was just this like rectangle that a USB stick flipped out of. And we would just like run around the house with it and like improvise a bunch of stuff, just basically playing around, but filming it and kind of crafting stories. And eventually we would move on to like write scripts for certain things, and it just got like more complicated as it went on. So that's kind of my original film school, was just around the house with my brother Braden.
And so does your brother still make films also?
He is more in the world of music right now. He's been the past couple of years learning a lot of like piano and guitar and mixing. So he's more on that end of things now, but I'm hoping that we like collaborate on something sooner than later, as far as like maybe he could do a film score for me or something.
Yeah.
But
that's great. That would be a great idea. And so you left Sherwood High School and went to Portland State for film school. What was that like? What was Portland State like?
Portland State was great. I actually, between Sherwood High School and Portland State, I went to a couple of different colleges where I never felt like I 100% clicked with like a community of people that felt more like a long-term thing. So my first year of school was out of state, and I missed home a lot, and there was just kind of a lot of different things that were leading me to come back. One of them was actually filmmaking itself, because I missed the collaborative process of that throughout high school. After like doing a bunch of stuff with my brother for fun as kids, in high school I met more people around who were also into film, and kind of built this friend group that started doing things together on the summers a lot, producing films. And then, so taking a step away from that group specifically, I think, made me realize how much I wanted to keep doing that kind of thing and that kind of collaborative art. So that led me to come back home, and I spent a couple of years at Clackamas Community College, but that was like very much in the midst of pandemic shutdown. So there wasn't a super connected community there at that time. I learned a lot and got to do a lot of projects, but a lot of the film-related projects we did were very self-focused because of that kind of needed separation we had between people. So I made a lot of shorts, but they were like a lot of myself doing a lot of the different roles. So it wasn't until I got to Portland State University after I got my associate's degree at Clackamas that I was able to really work with teams more and collaborate with people who I wasn't as familiar with, like the working styles of, too, unlike high school where it was just like, it was just friends making things together.
Right.
It was great at PSU because you got to meet so many different people, and working together kind of forced you to learn trust in other people a lot. And that was kind of a tricky process at first, but once you kind of come over the hill of that, you realize like, wow, okay, like you got to trust your team, because everybody is fighting to make something good, you know? Everybody wants to make something good and have a good time doing it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the main things I've noticed in the Portland film and, well, Oregon, but Portland film community is that everyone wants everyone else to be successful. And so everyone, you know, just has that mindset of working together and helping one another. Was that your experience?
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like it was. Yeah, that's great. And so you were at Portland State for 2 years, and during that time you founded the PSU Viking Film Festival.
Yeah.
So how did that idea come about, and what was that like?
That idea came about from, just being on different student sets throughout my time at PSU. There were different kind of like, people would kind of whisper about like having a screening of something, or you know, maybe we'll get some people together and show a couple of different films. And it was the kind of thing where I had heard people just kind of clamoring for that kind of thing, but nobody had a specific outlet where they were able to focus their time and energy into organizing an event like that to showcase different people's work. And so at that same time, I was getting involved with the PSU Film Club. It's basically a student production studio called Sub-Basement Studios, and it's run entirely by students. So when I first came to PSU, actually, one of the first kind of examples of community there and just the warmth that I felt there came from that group. It was very small at that time because it was also kind of picking up steam after things were very shut down for the pandemic.
Yeah.
But they had this office that was just like a place that you could show up if you just kind of wanted to hang out at any point. And it was a great way to just meet some of the first people I met at the school and to have shared interest right away, because we all were interested in film production and making things together. They do a lot of really cool things as far as they do writers' workshops and different like film labs, and they've got like a Discord server you can join, so everybody in that club is able to share ideas and opportunities with each other. But it got to, so like the first year I was just kind of a volunteer and a friend to some of the people working there, but my second year at PSU, I got involved as one of the leaders of the group, which meant that I suddenly had, because they give you a sort of like a scholarship stipend through the school if you're on the leadership teams of one of these clubs.
Nice.
And so that was great because it gave me a sort of platform to focus energy and time and a little bit of resources too into forming this event and space for people to come together and celebrate like all of the things they'd made throughout the year, because there are so many different like production electives you can take, but not a place where necessarily all of them get to be shown together. And so this also, I thought it would be cool to try to involve kind of the wider film community as much as possible by opening it up to alumni of the school who have directed shorts. So yeah, I did that, and the process was pretty smooth as far as getting permissions from like the leaders of the student, just the student programs folks.
So I know that Portland State has an actual movie theater that's run by students, the Fifth Avenue Cinema. How did that play a part in the festival?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Fifth Avenue Cinema is a student-run theater on campus, or just barely off campus, so it feels like it's on campus. It feels
like it's on campus, yeah.
But I got in contact with the folks who run the setup there, and we collaborated to run this first annual PSU Viking Film Festival. So they were really generous to let us use their space without paying an extra fund. It was a very collaborative thing. They also brought, they have like a concession stand. They gave out popcorn to people. It was awesome. So yeah, we just got one of their auditoriums. I think they have 2 auditoriums, but we kind of took up one for an evening and had it was about 3 hours, about a 3-hour show where we, the current leaders of the group would introduce the event and who got selected to be in the festival. And then we just watched movies for 2.5 hours, and it wasn't without its hiccups a little bit.
Yeah, as all festivals are, really.
Mm-hmm. But it was great, and like nobody complained about the hiccups we had. Like there were a few times the films would just like stop playing, and the like media runner just kept wanting to minimize for some reason. So like every half hour, I was like hunched over a computer and like going as quick as I can to just reopen the file. But but that was a learning experience, and they really smoothed it over for the following year too, because I went to watch last year just in support after I graduated, and that year they actually had the opportunity to hold it at Cinema 21 in Portland.
Nice.
And so it was a much bigger venue and a much bigger screen as well. But yeah, again, it was just awesome because people were just happy to be there and see each other's stuff, and you didn't get a ton of opportunities for that before we started making these events. So
yeah, that's fantastic. And so this is the 3rd year coming up, and the festival is coming up soon.
June 7th.
June 7th.
I believe, actually, yeah.
And so I would imagine that the general public could buy tickets to go to the festival. So I'll put that information in the show notes in case anyone wants to come to the festival and maybe find some new filmmaker talent. Sounds like it's probably a great place to do that. Hey there. If you're enjoying this episode of Oregon Indie Film, don't go anywhere. We've got more great conversation coming up. And if you believe in uplifting local voices and the power of independent storytelling, we'd love your support. Hit that follow button, share the show with a friend, or leave us a quick 5-star review. It makes a big difference. Want to get more involved? Reach out at OregonIndieFilm@gmail.com. Now, back to the episode. How does that feel that this festival that you created is now on its own without you? I bet that's a really good feeling.
It's it's really awesome, honestly.
Yeah.
Because it's like you do it the first time and it's great, but it's like, is it going to happen again?
Right.
Just because I'm going to be out of here. Like, I don't have a say in it necessarily, but everybody had such a good time, and the people who were new co-leaders with me during that have since kind of taken over the Sub-Basement Studios group, and they were very much like, from the word go, like, we've got to do this again. And so I went back and forth with them to just answer a couple of random questions along the way when they were getting set for that second showing. But for the most part, they just took it and ran with it, which has been so cool to see. And it's just one of the things I'm most proud of, for sure, because it's just a nice event for people to meet each other and celebrate how cool they are, really.
Yeah, and their films, all their stories. It's great. And so after graduation at Portland State, what have you done? What have you been involved with?
So since graduating from Portland State University, I've done a bunch of just kind of random projects here and there in the filmmaking space. So I've helped out as a production assistant a few times, and I direct and write some of my own films as well. I recently, back in August, I filmed a short called Those Who Long to Be Held Closer, and that is a romantic drama that is a very small scale kind of project where it's literally just two people talking in a park. There's a little bit of extra flourishes to it, though, that I added in there. But that was a really cool experience to work on as well, because that was a lot of my history is in very silly, kind of kooky, out there, weird stuff.
Yeah, films with your brother, right?
Yeah, starting
your
from
background. Yeah.
So I've done. I mean, that actually coming directly off of the crazy stuff I did with my brother back in the day. And another one of the things that I've done recently is get into these kind of similar styled improv type projects. I have some friends that it actually kind of all loops together, because through the Viking Film Festival, I actually met someone who is a dear friend of mine now, Jordan Ross, and he directs movies, and we've done a bunch of projects together ever since, which I would have just never met him if I didn't start the festival, because he submitted a short film called Two Little Ghosts, which is just a lovely movie, and I loved it, so I reached out to him and was like, hey, can we talk sometime? Because funny enough, even though he was involved in the festival, he wasn't able to make it to the showing.
Oh wow!
which is wild too. But but it still led to us meeting up at one point and just talking about movies, and that has led to a few different things we've done together, including very improv heavy projects where what Jordan will do is he'll make what's called a scriptment. It's kind of his self-patented thing.
Yeah, like a treatment, but a little more involved.
It's between treatment and script.
Yeah.
And so you get the character's kind of motivations for a scene and where the scene needs to end. But as far as the dialogue goes, it's all up to the actors to just kind of stumble through and play with. And that's been really fun to work with as well. We did a movie called Pizza House, where I played this delivery boy that showed up at this house, and there's all these weird roommates who live here, and they basically just keep sending me to the next one. They're like, I didn't order this pizza. And it's just a ridiculous comedy.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah, if you want to watch that, it's actually on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Jordan's own kind of studio is called Doomed Productions.
Okay.
And they've done some feature length stuff that's really cool, but they just put out for free for people to watch. Nice.
So a lot of improv, and then what project? Do you have a project you're working on right now? A film, short film, feature length?
Yeah, this will be my first feature actually, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
It hasn't fully set in that it's happening yet because it's just in pre-production, but it's definitely happening For real. It's an idea that started as a short film, but the more I worked on it, the more it was like, okay, there's enough like big ideas and ambition here that if we just add a few more scenes, we might be able to get more people's eyes on it potentially. Shout out to Jordan for that too. He was one of the people who was like, you're so close to this being a feature already, like just go for it.
Right. Good advice. Yeah.
Him and my friend Nolan Sternkoff, who works on all sorts of things with me. But this project is called Forsaken Remains, and it is a post-apocalyptic movie. So it's it's definitely ambitious, but it's also the kind of thing where I think it's manageable because a lot of it is, again, people talking. That is, I think, a strong suit I've found is just kind of one-on-one conversations with people. So I'm kind of playing to that strength with a lot of it and a lot of just the gorgeous Oregon scenery, too. There's a lot of just beautiful places around that I want to kind of take advantage of the scenery in, and it's a lot of stuff that takes place in the woods, which we've got a lot of. So.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, Oregon has so much to offer for locations. Do you have a favorite location in Oregon where you like to film? Is it the woods? Do most of your stories take place in the woods?
I do feel like more often than not I end up in the woods a little bit.
Yeah.
It works out well because I have some friends who their family owns like property that's decently big. Perfect. But that most recent short I talked about a little bit, Those Who Long to Be Held Closer, we shot in a park just in the town where I grew up in Sherwood. That's got a great view of, you can kind of see out over the town at the top of the hill, Snyder Park. And there really is just so much variety because we've also, in this Forsaken Remains project we're working on, we're going to be getting some shots around like Mount Hood, so we'll get a little bit more of that mountain scenario. I'm hoping to get a scene that's actually pretty snowy as well, like very end of this month. So we'll see if that gets in place in time. Otherwise, we'll have to like kind of wait until next February to pick that up. And it's the kind of thing where I'd like to get it now rather than later.
Right. Yeah. Then you could work around it.
But someday I want to do something like at the beach too.
Yeah.
I love the Oregon coast so much.
Yeah, sound is always an issue at the coast.
Yeah.
I'm not a sound person, but I know sound is an issue at the coast.
Sound is always pesky.
Yeah, I filmed a short film there, and the sound is a problem. So you're in pre-production for your apocalyptic feature now. And how many actors?
It's a pretty small cast, too. It's going to be like a total of 7 people. Okay. And the main cast is really just 5 people. The other 2 are kind of like, they're more substantial than extras because they're like important to the plot, but they don't have a ton of dialogue or anything like that. And
so you're filming this with your friends, with your production company. How are you fundraising for it, or how do you plan to finance the filming? Have you gotten that far yet?
I did a little bit of fundraising for it actually back in 2023, like end of that year, when it was still kind of aimed to be a short. And it was the kind of thing where the campaign wasn't as successful as I was hoping it would be. We had done one successful crowdfunding campaign, our group, Ghoul Capone Pictures, a few years back, called Rotten Shadows, and that was like a noir-style project. But with this one, it wasn't quite as successful as that, just from the money-making standpoint. So with the smaller budget I had, that was kind of another reason I had to put production on hold for a while. So I was just kind of saving up money, and then a lot of the people who are doing it are just my friends who want to do it for fun. There's a lot of that, but I'm doing what I can to reimburse people for things, and if we end up needing lodging anywhere, that's like something I'll be covering too, just out of my savings. And I'm also I'm actually hoping to sell some T-shirts and stickers that are. They were originally just going to be like backer exclusive sort of stuff, but since we didn't get a ton through crowdfunding, I am going to try to sell some extras through that. So if you're looking for a shirt or a sticker, be on the lookout. I've got some Forsaken Remains merch coming up.
Do you have a website for that?
I don't have a website for Forsaken Remains specifically, but Ghoul Capone Pictures, we have a site.
You have a website there, yeah.
Yeah, you can find us there or just through Instagram. Both Ghoul Capone Pictures and Forsaken Remains, they both have their own social media pages. So you can get all the details there and all the updates. Pretty soon I'm going to be announcing more of the cast and crew members as I've been really scheduling everything out. And hopefully. And then I'll have the designs for the stickers and the shirts to show off soon. I've been working on those and the shirts are ordered, so they'll be here soon.
Nice, very nice. So aside from money, which is always an issue in filmmaking, what else do you need? Like, what else have you determined that you need to get this film made?
Well, I'm still locking down a couple of locations right now. If anybody happens to have access to property that is snowy right now, that's the trickiest one to get.
And time's running out for that this year, yeah.
Yeah, time's running out on that quick. But outside of that, I mean, when it gets a little bit closer, I'm probably going to be reaching out to people to see if, like, just friends and family can help out as far as the lunches go. Because I definitely want to be able to provide lunches for everybody. That's, like, guaranteed that you need that. But that also is something that adds up quick. So I'm going to be reaching out to people and seeing if there's anything that can be done. Anybody who loves cooking, who is willing to help out with that. And then outside of that, I just posted actually a casting call for one of the characters. So that might still be open. I'm not sure when this episode will go out, but I'm looking for one character. His name's Graham, and he's like a supporting character. He's a love interest type character in the film, and I'm looking for them to play around age 25. But if there are any actors interested, I check out that same Forsaken Remains Instagram page. We've got like an email address you can send to, and I've got audition sides, all that good stuff that I've been starting to send out to people. So
yeah, great. So what is your favorite role for yourself in filmmaking? Do you act, direct? I mean, write, obviously, and produce. So what's your favorite thing? Do you have one thing you really enjoy doing?
Oh, man, that's tough because I've definitely dabbled in a little bit of everything.
Which, as an indie filmmaker, we do, right? We do everything, so, yeah.
We dabble. We definitely dabble. Yeah, because, I mean, I love being on camera. I love acting. And then, oh, yeah, it's so tough. Like, I love being on set. And I love also, I guess if I had... oh, man, it's hard. I'm going to say it's one of my favorites. One of my favorite roles is actually video editing. I love the sort of puzzle-solving element to video editing and making the final decisions on how to piece a story together, or even working with, like, documentary-style footage, interview footage to find through lines and create a story, or... not create a story, but just draw the story out, you know?
Right. Yeah, most of the time the story is made in the editing room. It really is. Do you have a day job that is film involved, or is it totally different?
I am actually between jobs right now, so I'm hoping to find something that is related. I've done content specialist type work for social media and social media video editing, a lot of actually interview specific content where I would get kind of like anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour long interview and shape that into like a 1 minute reel. That's something that I have a skill set in. And so things kind of marketing adjacent or anything video editing, I think is kind of my main goal as far as what I'd like to do as a main job. But I'm in the process of kind of refiguring out my plans in that world right now. But I'm definitely available and open for work and excited to collaborate with people. The more film related, the better. But
yeah. Well, it's an exciting time in your life. You're young, and so it's a great time to explore and figure out what you really want to do. Which kind of leads me to my big question, like, what is your big dream? If you could do anything in filmmaking, what would that look like for you?
I've been talking about this with some of my friends a little bit, actually. My co-founders, Nolan Sternkoff and Nessie Carmilla Stafford, we've founded our little group, Ghoul Capone Pictures, together. And that really just started out as us as friends in high school making things together. When we got into college, we kind of rebranded our YouTube page to Ghoul Capone Pictures and have been making things under that name. We've submitted a few films to festivals and been in some festivals, released a lot on YouTube as far as our films go too. But the goal for me right now, at least, for who knows how soon this would be, but the dream would be to get a studio of some kind together where we're able to kind of sustain a similar crew across projects is kind of something that we want to try doing, because a lot of crew work is so freelance based and a little less it can be unpredictable. So it would be the dream, it's definitely far out now, but the dream
but it's the big dream.
The big dream, would be to be able to in-house do a lot of things ourselves and with each other, and just grow this community of people who works on a project together consistently, and whenever the next thing comes, we just get our group together and keep working. That would be the dream, I think.
Would you do that here in Portland?
I would love to do it in Portland, yeah. Since we're talking dreams, I'll just add on, having some kind of property maybe with it. In the hills, there's a lot of really gorgeous country near, Sherwood and Newburgh, where I've grown up. Something up there would be amazing, but yeah, that's definitely a dream for now. Right now, we're just trying to make that jump from short films to features. So we're in the beginning of our journey, I think, but we're excited.
Yeah, and so you have a YouTube channel, Ghoul Capone Pictures, and you have some stuff on there that anybody could certainly pop on and take a look at. We'll put a link to that. Is there anything else that you want to include or talk about? Is there any advice? I guess I should ask you, is there any advice that you would give? I mean, you're young yourself, but somebody maybe just starting out in film that you might share, maybe something somebody gave to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing I always hear the most is kind of a classic Nike style, just do it, Yeah,
I love that.
Which it can get. Sometimes I know that can sound, when you're just getting started, that can feel kind of cliche and well, how do I get started though? And so how I elaborate on that is just kind of thinking of it as play to begin with. I started out that way with my brother, just doing whatever came to our mind and filming it. And we didn't even release that stuff for anybody, but we got into a routine of storytelling and acting and actually, especially if you want to be a director, I would say try acting as well, and get the experience of not only playing through that, but conveying someone else's vision, and that relationship, I think, has informed a lot of how I at least work as a filmmaker, the actor and director kind of feedback loop. Honestly, just as many of the roles throughout film that you can try out, the more understanding you'll have of your crew and the more trust you'll be able to put in them too. Because that would be my other advice, is trust in your crew. Like, there's a certain amount of control you have as a director, but at a certain point, it's in your crew's hands, and they're there to make something good, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, full circle. It's so true. It's, you have to have that trust in finding people that you want to work with. And I think that's the beauty of our film community in Oregon, is that we do have a lot of opportunity to network and meet people, whether you've gone to film school or not, and just find those people that you can work with and that you can trust to make a good film. Well, Drew, it sounds like you are off to a great start in life. I'm super excited for what you've done, what you've accomplished, and what's yet to come for you in your filmmaking career, because I think you're going to go far, it sounds like.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Thanks
it.
for being here.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for listening. If you'd like to learn more about Drew's current project, Forsaken Remains, or his production company, Ghoul Capone Pictures, look for the links in the show notes. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to leave a 5-star review and share it with your friends. It really does help reach more indie film lovers. Want to support the podcast by becoming a guest or a sponsor? Reach out at OregonIndieFilm@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.